It is a beautiful August evening on our backyard homestead, which means there are chores to be done for our animals and garden just like every other day, but we also have a lot of garden maintenance and harvesting that we've gotten a bit behind on that needs to be taken care of. Join me on a summer evening on our urban homestead, our tiny quarter-acre backyard farm that we've been growing for the last year and a half. If you're new around here, my name is KyAnn and I share a lot about our journey of creating a backyard homestead here on YouTube. I share motherhood and family content, cooking from scratch, and homemaking rhythms for a slower life. We've done a lot of different things to change up our lifestyle quite a bit in the last few years, and we like to share really all of that here on YouTube. So if you're interested in that kind of content, I would love for you to subscribe and join our YouTube family here, but I'm excited to bring you along for this evening of chores and garden work. Our backyard homestead really started with being fascinated with the idea of being able to produce food from our very own backyard, no matter how tiny it is. We decided we wanted to grow a garden for the first time and get a few chickens to get eggs, and well, that quickly escalated to 12 chickens, a good sized garden with 6 large garden beds, and dairy goats. I'm kind of an all or nothing person. Like, it doesn't take much for me to just jump all in. That's the kind of person that I tend to be. And so we went from not even ever having like a container garden to having a full-size garden with 6 garden beds, 12 chickens, and dairy goats, all in just a couple months. So here we are a year and a half later, and we're loving it. Honestly, we love the rhythm of having the farm animals. We love getting outside every day to take care of them. We love bringing our kids along for the journey, all of the new skills we've learned, and animal husbandry we've learned, and all of those things. We truly do love this lifestyle.
KyAnn, what do you need?
We've had our dairy goats for about a year and a half now, and we've learned a lot in that time frame. In the past few months, we've made a lot of changes to our little goat herd. We've sold some of our original goats, we've brought in some new goats, and narrowed in on our specific goals for our homestead and kind of adjusted our plans for our goat herd accordingly. When we started out, we started with 1 in-milk Nigerian dwarf goat and then a couple of Nigerian dwarf goat kids, as well as a Nubian goat kid, and we really spent about a year feeling out whether we liked Nigerian dwarf better or whether we liked Nubian better or whether we wanted a combination of both. And what we kind of ended up deciding on for our situation currently is we were leaning more towards Nubian. So that's what you'll see reflected in our goat herd currently, which, by the way, side note, goats sure do have tons of personality, and a few of them escaped while letting out the one I was trying to milk here in the video, so we had to pause to get them back and contained correctly. I will say, everyone says goats are little escape artists, and although we haven't had any issues with them getting out of our actual backyard, when I go to open the gate, I'm not gonna lie, they don't have a ton of manners, and they all just want to get out at the same time, and they act a little crazy about it when I go to let out the one that I need to milk. So, you know, we gotta work on the manners side of this a little bit. As I was saying, we started out with mostly Nigerian dwarf and 1 Nubian, and we actually ended up preferring the Nubian breed to the Nigerian dwarf for our specific needs. We just weren't getting the volume of milk that we wanted from the Nigerian dwarfs, and we also found that they were a lot louder, honestly, than Nubian goats. And if you're not a goat person, you may not care about, you know, which breed is better or anything like that, but if you're interested in homesteading at all, I feel like it's helpful to sometimes see how goals can change and grow with you. You know, we thought we might like one kind of breed, and we knew we'd have to feel it out and just see how it went, but it ended up that we really preferred the Nubian breed, and so we made a lot of changes in the past few months to sell some of our original goats and get some new Nubian goats that we can bring in that will produce a larger volume of milk so that we can make more things like ice cream and hopefully one day things like cheese and cottage cheese, yogurt, all of those kind of things with a larger volume of milk. So we did change our plans a little bit with that, and it's been honestly going really great so far. We've had 2 goats kid here on our little backyard farm this year, so we got to experience the whole kidding process, assisting with goat birth, and becoming an unofficial goat doula, caring for baby goats again, and raising them up. And I have loved every bit of that process. Truly, like, it is something that I have really enjoyed getting to be a part of and seeing new life, like, brought into the world. As silly, I mean, maybe it doesn't sound silly, I don't know. It may sound weird, but I truly have enjoyed, like, getting to witness that and be a part of bit. Having the baby goats running around, we had baby goats last year as well, but they weren't born here on our farm, and so having them actually born here and then getting to watch them run around, watching, you know, the maternal bond and the nursing and just growing to get bigger, all of the things they're learning, it really is just fun. It's been fun for us, it's been fun for our kids. We really have enjoyed that part of the process a lot. Side note here that I'll mention is that Matt is spraying Muffin, which is the goat that I'm milking here, off with a homemade fly spray that we made because the flies have been absolutely crazy. Like, they've been driving the goats nuts, they have been driving me nuts, they've been driving all of us nuts. They hurt so bad when they bite. They drew blood the other day when I was filming this video. They drew blood from biting me multiple times. So I'm over it, the goats are over it, and we're trying to make it a little less annoying for our goats because gosh, I can't imagine being outside in that all day every day. So we're trying out this new spray and hopefully it will help. Muffin is our newest addition to the goat herd, and she came to us heavily bred and then she kidded here on our farm shortly after. She's a full-size Nubian and she is producing about a half a gallon a day, so she's doing a really great job. She actually ended up being a great mom. If you haven't seen her birth video, we were told that she may not be a good mother, that she's rejected her kids in the past, and we've had no issues with her. She has accepted her kids great, she's raised them great, they're growing to be really strong, healthy kids, and she's doing an incredible job. One thing I've noticed is she's definitely very tame and friendly. However, she's gotten a little bit feisty and thinks that she knows the way she wants to do things, and she likes to try to drag me across our yard when I'm trying to put her up or when she wants to go a different direction. And while she does weigh quite a bit more than I do not prefer to be dragged across the yard. So what you're seeing here is me working on just halter training her a little bit more to where I can grab her collar and she can walk slowly with me and not drag me across the yard, because I don't really want to go for a ride every day when I go to put her up. So we're working on that slowly and working on her just having a little bit better manners. She's super well behaved. We don't have any issues with her other than this, but it's just one of those things that I would like to work on and get her to be a little better at. Milking specifically is something that ever since I started milking, you know, a year and a half ago, I guess now, because we originally started, we had one goat that was already in milk when we got her, and so I've been milking for about a year and a half on and off from when they were in milk. But it truly is such a therapeutic process for me. Like, I truly enjoy it and look forward to it. It does take time. Honestly, it takes just as much time to wash all the milking dishes practically as the actual milking process. So, you know, it's not that milking actually takes a long time, but all the steps of the process, like, it does take time, it does take effort. I'm not gonna lie about that. But getting outside daily to milk every single day and just taking a minute to sit and look, like, take in the fresh air, rain or shine, because you have to get out there every single day no matter what. It really slows me down in a way that's truly so refreshing and so needed. In a culture that is go, go, go constantly and always striving to do more and add more to our schedule and cross more items off the to-do list each day, our homestead lifestyle has really helped me to slow down and keep things a little more simple and slow. It's not to say it's not a lot of work, because it definitely is, but there's something about this lifestyle that, although it is full and there's always lots to do and more projects to get done, you still feel like you're living a little bit slower and you're more connected with the ones that you're sharing the chores with, and more in tune and grateful for the gifts, large or small, that the Lord has blessed us with. That's something that we found through living this lifestyle. Like, it really has just slowed us down. Even though our to-do list is still long, we still have a lot of things that we're accomplishing or trying to get done throughout each day. We just live each day a little bit slower, and I feel like take a little bit more time to savor the moments that we have with our family. And maybe it's just being outside in the fresh air, like, even more regularly than we were before. Maybe it's having these daily tasks that, although they are repetitive, like, they have to be done every single day because these animals are relying on you, and, like, your garden needs to be watered to continue to produce the fruit. All of those things, something about the just repetitiveness of it, I think, is actually a really huge blessing to us and helps slow us down a lot. Muffin's babies that you see here are almost 9 weeks old now, so they're getting pretty close to the point of weaning. We have a few more weeks before they will be weaned, and we are planning on selling. There's one boy and one girl. The spotted one is a little boy, sadly, or else I would for sure be keeping him, but he will be sold. And the little girl, we kind of went back and forth on. At first I thought I definitely wouldn't be keeping her since she didn't have anything that really stood out to me that I felt like I really wanted, and then I feel like I got a little bit more attached, and I thought she is really pretty. She has great lines behind her. Maybe I will end up keeping her because I think she'd be a really great milker, and we already have her here, so we might as well. And now I've kind of gone back on that a little bit because honestly the costs of hay are very high right now, and we don't necessarily need another goat at this exact moment, and so we're gonna sell both of the babies. Sadly, it will be a little bit sad to see them go, but we're going to sell both of them, and then when we do get a space with a little bit more land, because we hope to get more land in the future and we have the space to keep more goats, then we will get another one at that point, or maybe we'll keep one of Muffin's in future years. Ideally, if I could get a spotted girl, I would for sure be keeping her, but... And now Chai is getting into the kidding pen, which doesn't have anyone occupying it at the moment, and she was chowing down on some of the weeds that have gotten a little overgrown in there since no one has been in there. And I had a flake of hay that I hadn't put yet in the feeder, and she decided to help herself. So she is enjoying a little bit of a snack here, and like I said, goats will keep you on your toes and they keep us laughing all the time. From our little backyard homestead on a 1/4 of an acre lot, we have been able to produce tons of garden veggies, flowers, and even some fruit, eggs, and dairy, all from our very own backyard. Being a part of the process of growing and raising our own food is truly incredible. Putting boots on the ground and being involved in the process, from planting the seeds to milking the goats to collecting the eggs to caring for the animals, it all brings you back to nature in old-fashioned ways that just, it really does slow you down in the best way possible. Teaching our kids where their food comes from straight in our own backyard is something that we don't take for granted. We have 3 young kids, ages 3, 2, and almost 6 months at the time of recording this, so they're all still really young. They will grow up, like, from the point of being babies, knowing that growing food, raising animals, and learning the skills alongside that will be second nature to them, and that is something that I love. I was not raised doing any of this. I feel like I was kind of in the generation that was skipped over. Like, we weren't really taught to raise our own food. We weren't taught where our food came from necessarily. I mean, we knew where it came from, but we didn't have a hands-on approach to help in that in any ways. You know, like, both sets of my grandparents have stories of raising their own food in some way or another, and that being a really, like, integral part of their lives at that point. And then it got to my parents, and I feel like that's the generation that was the first generation that was skipped, and then it got to us and we were skipped. And now I feel like a lot of these skills are actually coming back into play more as people realize how important it is to know where your food comes from and to know how it was, you know, grown, and how it was raised, if it's meat, you know, dairy, things like that. People are getting a lot more excited and interested in that, which I love seeing that in our culture, seeing that shift come over, and that's something that has really encouraged and inspired us, and that's why we really got involved in homesteading to begin with, is starting to go down the path of figuring out what is in our food and how can we get better food sourced locally to us, and also be a part of growing it and learning how to have those skills in case we ever need them one day. Like, it's something that we can learn and do now, even though we don't have tons of acres and tons of land. We hope to one day, but we're not in that spot yet. So what is something we can do now? And for us, that has been to start a garden and to get a few animals that we can have here and learn how to produce eggs and milk and, you know, veggies and fruit and things like that in our backyard, and learn some of those skills associated with them, and just continue to grow in that before we can get a larger plot of land where we can do things on a larger scale. A lot of these skills really do take years to learn, and I feel like we're continually learning in them constantly, and I think even 10 years down the road we'll still be learning. That's something I hear from especially gardeners, is that every year they learn something new. So they may be 30 years in, 40 years in, 50 years in, and they're still learning. And I feel like a lot of homestead skills are like that, and so we wanted to, instead of just sitting around and waiting until we got our dream property, which is honestly probably a ways off, we wanted to be able to start small now and start doing small efforts to start learning some of these skills, applying some of these skills, learning alongside our kids, and having them know this from a really young age, and just be that much more knowledgeable full and ready to go when we do get a piece of land where we have access to do things on a larger scale. The garden is quite abundant and full at the moment, but it is in desperate need of some work. So that's what you're seeing here is me doing a lot of weeding, to be honest. We mulched most of our beds. Mulch is a lifesaver, so if you have not mulched your garden beds, or you haven't in the past and you're thinking forward to having another garden in the future, definitely plan to mulch. It saves your life with weeding. We mulched I think 3 out of our 6 garden beds, and we used, last year we used straw, and this year we used our old animal bedding from the goats and the chickens, which was discarded hay that had fallen down, and then obviously some manure and things like that were in there. So it worked really well on the beds that we did. And there are still weeds that came up, but not nearly as many. But we got caught up this summer. It has been a busy summer, a full summer, and we've kind of been just trying to get things done the best that we can, and we never got to the last 3 garden beds, and so they just didn't get mulched. And in the midst of moving out of our house, as I shared in the last video, we are temporarily living with family because we have a water pipe situation, and so we've been going back and forth to care for the animals and the garden. And so it's been almost a month that we haven't been in our house, and even before that we had about a month of just craziness. Honestly, we had a lot of out-of-town family in that we were hanging out with. We had the 4th of July, as everyone does, which is a really big deal for my husband's side of the family especially. We have a really big celebration, and it's a ton of fun, and we love it, but it's very busy. We had VBS at our church that we volunteered at and were a part of, and just a lot of different schedule things where we were not home for about 3 to 4 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks that we weren't home, and then we had a couple weeks that we had some sicknesses run through our family. So we were just all out of the schedule. We weren't out in the garden nearly as much as we normally are. So all of that together means that my garden is pretty overgrown. I'll be honest. It is not perfect. And so I've been trying to take time to weed at least part of a garden bed every day, just get a little bit done. I would ideally like to do 1 garden bed a day, but honestly, like this zinnia patch here, some of these garden beds are so overrun with the grass, because we have that grass that just gets everywhere, and it just spreads everywhere, and it's so hard to get out. And so it takes so long that I can't even do a full garden bed every evening because it's just taking too much time. So I'm trying to take it section by section and just do what I can to get on top of it. And we will definitely be mulching in the future every single garden bed and just getting it done, because I don't want to deal with this again. So now I am harvesting some zinnias. We have an entire bed full of zinnias. My 3-year-old absolutely loves growing flowers, and that is one part of the process that she has been super excited about. She's been excited about the veggies and fruit as well, but she's been really into planting and growing flowers and helping me harvest them whenever she can. She's very excited about it, and so as much as I can, I really want to foster these things that she's interested in and really nurture them and let her have some say in the garden as well. So we have an entire bed full of zinnias, and it has been really fun to be able to make so many bouquets out of them. We've given away some bouquets. I've been able to put them all around our house, and it's been just such a fun spot of color throughout our house throughout the summer, and they just keep blooming. So we've gotten so many zinnias already from them. So I've been harvesting really every few days to get at least a bouquet every couple days. And that has been just really enjoyable for us. I love having fresh cut flowers, and getting them right from our backyard is even better. So now I'm piling them all up, and I'm gonna at least put them together so I can get them in water really quickly when we get back to the house, so that I can go ahead and make a bouquet. I've mostly been cutting basil and interspersing the zinnia and basil together to make just really simple bouquets. It's nothing super fancy. I dream of having dahlias and just lots of different flowers in the future, but this year we just have zinnias, and then we have a few cosmos, although I've only had a few of them bloom so far. They're coming along, but I've only had a couple actually bloom, so I have some buds that should be blooming soon. So we had zinnia, cosmos, and then I had a bunch of sunflowers as well. So we plan to do a little bit more next year, but it has been really fun to have that color and just that fun, I don't know, it's been a fun creative outlet to make these bouquets as well. There's something that's just relaxing about it, and I really enjoy it. If this summer has taught me anything, it's that things do not always go according to plan, but you can slow down to find beauty in the simple moments throughout each day and just do the best you can. My garden is not a Pinterest level garden this year. This is only my second year having a garden, and I have a lot to learn. There's parts of the garden that are doing really well, parts of it that are not doing well at all, such as my zucchini and squash plants that all decided to die like at the same time and produce basically nothing. So that was a flop. But other parts of my garden are thriving, and when I talk to other gardeners, it seems like that's a very common thing, and lots of gardeners that are even years and years into it are experiencing the same thing year after year. And you just learn and you grow and you learn something new each year. And I feel like that this summer, where our schedule was definitely more full than I thought it might be, and so I haven't been able to do all of the projects that I planned here on the homestead. But there is so much time. Like, we don't have to do everything in the same summer. I have to remind myself of this because, like I said, I'm an all or nothing person. I tend to just want to go after it and get it all done right out the gate. And you know, there's joy in the journey. It's so much more about the journey than it is the destination, and there's so much joy and beauty to be found just in the simple everyday nature of tending to your garden, caring for your animals, learning these new skills, all of it. Like, let's just slow down and enjoy the process as much as we do the destination. That's something I'm just continually trying to remind myself, and I hope you can find some encouragement in that as well. I hope you enjoyed this video and that there was some encouragement brought to you. And if you are new around here, I would love if you would subscribe and join our YouTube family and join our channel to see us grow our backyard homestead and follow along with our homemaking and motherhood journey as well. So thank you so much for watching and for being here and enjoying this summer evening with us. I cannot wait to see you guys in the next video.